One of the things that you're going to hear me say a lot in the videos, the boring parts that most people don't like to hear, is that you have to understand yourself, know yourself, and, or as it's said many ways, it's know thyself. And unfortunately, that's an endeavor that most of us don't want to do, but that's a very critical part of finding consistency. It's very hard for young men to encounter this, and they resist it. They want to hold the opportunity to blame someone else or something else as the outward interference to them succeeding, not them just simply not doing what's required or expected. And there's no shortcuts, and I don't sugarcoat it at all. And unfortunately, that turns off a lot of people because they want it right now, real quick and short to the point. And they discover, chasing other approaches or shorter methods that promise, profitability. They can't do it. They might have flash in the pan one-hit wonders here and there, but that's not consistency. And my aim as a mentor is to teach you how to find your consistency, not mimic mine or try to keep up with other people on social media, but you're trying to find your own lane and stay in it. So the way you do that is understanding and determining, very painfully for most people, what your personal weaknesses are. And that's an ugly area in everyone's life that we want to try to pretend doesn't exist, because every one of us have a weakness. Every single one of us has a frailty, something that brings a reason for ruin. And I mentioned I don't know if it was 2 spaces ago, where I covered, like, for young men, if their personal relationships are always plagued with, drama and such, your trading's going to be very bad, because you're not being responsible in your relationship, and you're going to bring those same character flaws into a method of making money that requires discipline. You have to be like a machine. Like, you have to be so objective about what it is you're doing and understanding where you will mess up, what makes it or what invites recklessness in you. And as a young man, I didn't want to identify on any of those things initially, when I had many reasons to have that. Failed marriage, troubled upbringing, parents didn't want have anything to do with me, and I used all those things as a chip on my shoulder, and I wanted to have an instant gratification in the marketplace to replace that pain, and it doesn't work that way. And unfortunately, a lot of the sugar-coated shit that you see in this industry kind of caters to that. Hey, buy my course, buy my shit. I'll teach you how to trade in 2 months or 3 months, and you'll be able to, make a lot of money and be part of the 1% crowd. And you find that that's not true, because they themselves haven't even mastered themselves. The teachers, the educators, but they put this mask on and hide it. I don't ever wear a mask like that. I literally come out here, and every time I talk to you, I'm talking from real world experience, embarrassments, failures, things I've done, blown accounts. I don't ever hide any of that stuff, because you all have to endure those types of things and figure out what it is that's going to cause you ruin, what is going to derail you. And before you can ever find winning consistency in your trades, you have to identify those character flaws. Many of you might be using alcohol. Many of you might be doing drugs, recreational or whatever you want to call it. That's going to have an impediment in your ability to be consistent, because you're changing the state of your focus, your lucidness. You're not going to be at optimal levels if you're doing things like that. And if you do drink excessively, you should not be in front of your computers. You shouldn't be doing anything like that. And you shouldn't be inviting, let me say it clear, because I don't think I said it clear enough. You should not be inviting substance abuse into your trading. And I have students that have wrestled with that, and they tried to ignore it, and they hid it from me when they were telling me they were having problems with finding consistency, and saying, I can see it after the fact, but it frustrates me. I can't do it then. And come to find out, they have been wrestling with alcoholism. And you can't ignore it. Like, that's a big elephant in the room. And maybe that doesn't fit you or your problem. And All of us have a problem. All of us have a kink in our armor that it may not be a big deal to anyone on the outside, but for us that have to deal with it, it's like a rock in your shoe. You can't run the fastest. You can't stand on good footing because it hurts. It's painful. And it's a distraction from whatever you're doing. So if that's an endeavor that you're fearful of, you need to get over that. Find out what it is that is a problem for you. It may be codependency. You may need to be with someone for, companionship. And if you don't have it, it makes you lonely. It makes you feel anxious. And it's going to do what? It's going to cause you to do things in the marketplace to replace that, replacing those negative experiences, that fearful stuff. And unfortunately, there's not enough said about this in the trading space because, again, like I said many times before, it forces the viewer or reader, if it's a book, to take a personal assessment on themselves. And they're not going to like what they find. When you take personal inventory and you have to do an evaluation on yourself, where am I a problem? Where do I keep making problems for myself? Where do I invite drama? Where do I cause recklessness in decision making? Where am I impulsive? That type of thing. For the ladies, and I'm not trying to just beat up on the guys here, I know my wife is an impulsive buyer. Like if I give her a credit card and she goes out to the store with a list of things, I say, okay, go get this and don't get anything else. Okay. Well, you know what that means. I'm not getting everything on the list because she's seen something else that she wants to get, and it's better for us to have that. And then 20 other things. Oh, I saw this thing. Look at this. This was 40% off. Yeah, I could have saved the other 60% if you didn't buy that. Okay. That's a better deal. That's the better savings. Okay. But women generally tend to be impulsive as a spender. And that might be a problem, not for many, but it may be a problem for female traders that become impulsive about doing something beyond what they took out of the marketplace. And what do I mean by that? I have women that I've trained, and a few of them, Grazi, shout out to you. She's in our private mentorship, and I hate saying that. I wish I could have just paused myself there, because when I do this, it seems I got a tweet the other day. You're teasing us about your private mentorship, and then you say nobody can join. But I'm trying to wind that down. I don't do videos for them, and I'm actually doing all my teachings publicly now. So they're in this group with you, learning. So, but Grazi, she's in our forum, and she's just a dynamo. Like I'm very proud of her. And what I'm about to say is not directed to her. And to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't even know if it was a case for her or not. I just know that she does very well, and she makes it public in our forum. She walks the walk, and no bragging, very, very consistent, and I'm just very, very proud as a mentor. And she's doing it with real money. So there you go. And all the other students love her too. So she's an Aussie, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to the blokes down there that you got one from your homeland that's killing it in my mentorship, and she's a lady. But I have other ladies in my mentorship that get upset that they find a trade, they get something out of it, they profit, and then they beat themselves up by getting out too early because they second guessed it, and they become impulsive about going right back in one more time, and then being scared of the normal little retracement that may be just simply a return to a small little fair value gap on a lower time frame that they're not even aware of, because they're regretting getting out early. And this might be something that some of you men are actually encountering too, and finding yourself being impulsive. Like, I want to get that too. This was enough, and it doesn't make a difference that you bailed out. If you have to grow into understanding how to hold on to positions, and you're not going to do it right from the first trade. No one learns how to hold a trade to full target by being able to do it the first time. Like it doesn't, that's like knowing it already, right? But unfortunately, our brains as human beings, we like to convince ourselves that, we can do it in a shorter span of time. We can do it faster than someone else. And that's the cup of tea right now. Everybody wants to learn ICT stuff quicker, shorter to the point. And then I guarantee you, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. You're going to have to go right back through all this stuff I've told you to do. And that's where your consistency is going to be found and derived from. But if you're finding yourself being impulsive and trying to go back in to get a little bit more of the move that you didn't hold on for, that's showing you a character flaw. You're being impulsive. You're not being content with enough.